Hello everyone! Welcome to the Cleric Corner. My name is Riker. Here, we talk about all things Dungeons and Dragons, tapping into our higher powers to create worlds more unique and stories more impactful. Glad to see you all here. Today we're going to go in depth on the Rogue. Now this is the first full melee class. There we go. I was up again late last night editing. It's amazing that I was watching last week's live stream, and for those of you who are there, the lag was terrible. I don't know what was going on, and I was kind of tripping over my words over and over again. There's a reason why my videos are scripted. There's a reason where I don't just turn the camera on and ad-lib. Because, oh man, I would have to have a dictionary next to me. The One True Donut, hello! Welcome, the One True Donut. So what does the One True Donut have on it? Like, what, is that like the everything donut? It just has everything on it, but truly everything donut? It's just the One True Donut. Those of you who have seen the Brendan Lee Mulligan show, where I think which show was it? It's the not Sleeping in Seattle. That's a movie. Unsleeping City. That's it's like a Critical Role show, but with Brendan Lee Mulligan as a DM. Oh, incredible guy. They have an everything bagel. See, this is what I mean. This is why my videos are scripted. Everything bagel in that show, where someone eats it and like becomes one with the universe because they become everything. So is that you? It's okay, you can tell me. Is my sound on? Yes. All right. Well, while we're waiting for a few more people to come in, I want to give a big thank you to to my Patreon members, with cleric being Scott, with our only cleric being Scott Burns. Thank you so much. But then our acolytes Kaleidoscope and Weaver Atropos. Your support does incredible things, not only to my self-esteem, but also this channel, and allowing me to create the things that I am creating. Right, I feel like I'm getting better and better at my editing and my lighting, and it's just being able to purchase the things that'll help me do that, right? And I'm eventually, as I want to be better at, I love doing intros to my videos. So, like, actually getting like really good stock stuff is on the list. I have a website coming up. My goal is to get it out next week. The website. That's the goal. But then I'm going camping, so that'll all have to happen like in the next couple days. Christian Roberts, hello. What's up? Looking forward to seeing what the community thinks of the Rogue's flavor potential. Me too. One True Donut. It changes based on the preferences of the individual. Oh. Okay. So it's like the room of requirement, but like in a bagel or in a donut. Yeah. I wonder, is it like, what am I thinking of? Is it Willy Wonka? Is it Star Trek? There's a movie out there that has an item that you eat it and it just is the thing that you crave. Am I crazy? It's like sci-fi. It's like fantasy. I don't think there's an actual thing out there that does that, but something that you eat and it is the thing that you crave. Yeah. Mine would just be cheese. Mine would probably just taste like cheese, because I'm lactose intolerant and I can't have it. Anyways, going on to our tier list today, we'll look and see what the Rogue has to offer. Now, remember, with the classes so far, we've looked at spellcasting, we've looked at multi-faceted subclasses or classes like the Ranger. So with the Rogue, the S tier meaning features are in complete synergy with the class narrative, a key class for reflavoring, including multiple avenues for customization. A, strong features that promote creativity with the right brainstorming allowed as possible. B, offers decent reflavoring options and provides good narrative though only for specific instances. C. Some Ludo-narrative present, reflavoring is possible, but specific features make it very difficult. Or D. Features seldom work with the narrative of the class they are limiting and leaves little room for reflavoring. Of course, things we're going to look at. Do the mechanics work with the narrative? Can you separate the mechanics from the narrative? Can you easily make changes to the mechanics? Are the abilities unique to the class? How different would two characters of the same class or same subclass be? And does the class give further options for customization? Okay. I think we have the answer to the Willy Wonka question. Christian Roberts coming in clutch. That sounds like the 3-course dinner gum. That's probably what it is. Yeah, that's probably what it was. Or at least it might be across like different platforms. Like there might be a number of different translations of that trope. But anyways, we're gonna look at the rogue today, and something I want to keep in mind with the rogue is it is a very popular class. Hugely popular class. In my experience, hugely popular with people who are just getting into Dungeons and Dragons, because the trope or the ability to sneak around and stab things and not get caught, I don't know, I guess is a lot of people's fantasies. A lot of people like the fantasy of what the rogue archetype kind of talks about. So if you do have other questions in the chat while we're going over this, definitely just put a big question in caps at the beginning of your comment. That way I make sure to get to it. But here we go. Oh, where'd my mouse go? There it is. All right. So we have the rogue. With the rogue, we have skill and precision. Rogues devote as much effort into the mastery of the variety of skills as they do to perfecting their combat abilities, giving them a broad expertise on that few other characters can match. Well, not much anymore, but we'll get to that. Many rogues focus on stealth and deception, while others refine the skills that help them in a dungeon environment, such as climbing, finding and disarming traps, and opening locks. When it comes to combat, rogues prioritize cunning over brute strength. A rogue would rather make one precise attack, placing it exactly where the attack will hurt them most. And that's more of the Ludo-narrative of the sneak attack, which is rogue's basically main feature. But it goes on. Every town and city has a share of rogues. Most of them live up to their worst stereotypes of the class, making a living as burglars, assassins, cut purses, and con artists. Often these scoundrels are organized into thieves guilds or crime families. Plenty of rogues operate independently, but even they sometimes recruit apprentices to help them in their scams and their heists. Now, if you've watched my rogue video, you know that you don't have to do this, and there are many things that allow the rogue to not be this in their class, as it surprisingly doesn't behold you to this trope specifically as much as people think. But we'll look at the sneak attack first. So with sneak attack, you are a rogue because you sneak attack, really. Just like the bard is to inspiring word. Is that the ability? Going on. Just like the druid has with wild shape, just like the sorcerer has with meta magic, the rogue has sneak attack. And here's how it works. For those of you who don't know, even though I'm sure that all of you guys, like, yeah, I know what sneak attack is. We're going to read it. You know how to strike subtly and exploit a foe's distraction. Once per turn, you can deal an extra 1d6 damage to one creature with an attack if you have an advantage on the attack roll. The attack must use a finesse or ranged weapon. And because it's finesse, means you can have a strength-based rogue and use finesse weapons, because finesse weapons can use strength. You don't need advantage on the attack roll if another enemy of the target is within 5 feet of it. That enemy isn't incapacitated, and you don't have disadvantage on the attack roll. The amount of damage increases as you gain levels in this class, as shown in the sneak attack column of the rogues table. Has anyone ever... Christian Roberts, Bardic Inspiration. Yes. Sneak attack. Has anyone used the rogue before or enjoyed playing the class? is if you played the class before, did you actually enjoy it? I've played it in a couple one-shots. I have not played it through a campaign. However, when I did play in one-shots, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was great. I played a white magician bunny that that did sneak attacks through distraction, and it was amazing. He died though. They die in every one-shot. Sneak attack going on. This part before it though has been something that a lot of people relate to the rogue, but now many other classes have it, and that's expertise. Choose two of your skill proficiencies, or choose two of your skill proficiencies or one of your skills and your proficiency with thieves tools. Your proficiency is doubled for any ability check that you make that uses either of those chosen proficiencies. So this is actually I would say even more limiting than other expertise. We'll double check in a second because it limits it to thieves tools. But expertise meaning that you choose one skill and you just become better at it. And a lot of people put that into sneaking or expertise into sleight of hand. So one of those, or both if you didn't want to do it in thieves tools. But you can put it in any skill proficiency, and that's what I made the video for, to kind of explore like what kind of rogues would look like with the different kind of proficiencies in them. So one thing that we got kind of on a rant about last stream was the Amazing Ranger, and it being the whole jack of all trades, and the chat thankfully pointed out the expertise that it had. And because the Ranger got expertise in the Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, let's see what it says. Let's see. Favorite foe. Wait, what, did I miss it? Okay. So it doesn't say expertise specifically, but it says choose one of your skill proficiencies. Your proficiency bonus is doubled for any ability check that you make that uses that chosen skill. So still only one, but you can use that to get into sneak or sleight of hand. And with this, in addition to the spell Pass Without Trace, Rangers are now the best sneakers by themselves. They were the best sneakers for like the party, but now they are the best sneakers more than the rogue is for this one, or for this being the proficient or being the best at this thing. The Ranger would be the best one. Christian Roberts, one of my favorite concepts is a grappler rogue that I made and got to play for a little bit. Did I play with you in that one? We had a house rule for grappling at the table I was playing at, so he could get advantage based on a roll. I mean, yeah, well, it's expertise in one skill. Yeah, it is only expertise in one skill, this one. While the rogue has two. So, thankfully, the rogue is still on top when it comes to expertise. There is the bard that gets it. Should we look at that one? Let's look at the bard and see, because it also gets expertise. Let's see here. Also, I do think that expertise should be in... Am I right or wrong? Expertise should be a thing that all classes can have. But I guess with if you take, was it the skilled feature? The feat? Is it skilled? Or is it prodigy? One of those that gives you proficiency in a skill and basically expertise in that skill or another skill. You can be an expert sneaker in any class, really, if you really want to. Expertise, here we go. Okay, you choose two of your skill proficiencies. Your proficiency doubles for any ability check that you make that uses either of those chosen proficiencies. So I guess expertise really doesn't count towards any tools if you use it this way. If you use it this way, it doesn't count for any tools, where the Ranger does give you the option to use thieves tools. So, I mean, I haven't explored this prior to this stream, but it does look like the rogue's expertise is still the best, even though just a little bit. And actually, I'm really curious, if you guys will bear with me for a second, I want to know what the expertise says in the feat. Is it? I'm gonna look it up. If anyone knows which one I'm talking about, let me know and it'll save me the trouble. But here we have the skilled feat. Is this one it? You gain proficiency in a combination of 3 skills or choice. Nope, that's not it. Skill expert. This might it. Yes. Okay. Increase 1 ability score of your choice by 1. You gain proficiency in 1 skill of your choice. And then choose 1 skill in which you have proficiency. You gain expertise in that skill, which means your proficiency is doubled for any ability check that you make with it. The skill you choose must be one that isn't already benefiting from this feature, such as expertise that doubles your proficiency bonus. So this wouldn't... I mean, obviously you couldn't stack this with any of those listed with the Bard, Ranger, or Rogue, but you can still use it. And then the Bard, or the Rogue, still comes out on top. Yay, Bard! At 6th level, you can choose 2 or more of your proficiencies in skills with your Thief's Tools to gain this benefit. Oh, so yeah, so then you get 2 more later down the road. Incredible. Incredible. So, skill monkeys, hugely flavorful for your Rogue. You really can choose specific skills that you can really be the best at, that you can specialize in. I really like that. So still the Rogue has on top of that. So let's actually, there's 2 ways that I can go here, but let's do this. While we're on the subject of sneak attack, let's look at how each of the subclasses kind of expand on that. So with the assassination, so the assassin rogue, you get, as we've kind of previously looked at, we get sneak attack if we have advantage on the roll and we're within 5 feet of an ally while we're attacking a creature, or the enemy is within 5 feet of an ally while we're attacking that creature. Assassinate, you have advantage on the attack rolls against any creature that has not taken a turn in the combat yet. So as long as you go before somebody, you get advantage on the rogue, or the advantage on the roll no matter what. So that's something the assassin can additionally gives you uses for that. Christian Roberts, rogue gets 4 skills with expertise by the end, as does Bard. Yeah, okay, so yeah, you pointed that out before I realized it. As you can see, I'm not the expert with rogues, but I'm glad the chat is. With Inquisitive, let's see how they kind of pick it out. I actually don't think the Inquisitive does. Oh! No. Yeah, you benefit from or help with insight, and then help with spawning hidden creatures. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay, so you have the ability to decipher opponents' tactics to develop a counter to them. As a bonus action, you can have an insight check against your opponent's deception check. If you succeed your sneak attack, you use your sneak attack on the target even if you don't have advantage. So this doesn't give you advantage on the roll, it just gives you sneak attack in order to do so. So this is actually really good because oh, actually no. So it does say that as long as you don't have disadvantage on it. That makes sense. Mastermind. You can have a help action as a bonus action. Additionally, when you use the help action to aid an ally in attacking a creature, the target of the attack can be within 30 feet of you. Wait, what? To aid an ally in attacking a creature, the target of that attack can be within... so this one doesn't help you with sneak attack. The Mastermind does. But it does help other people get off attacks, which are also very useful. Phantom... Whales of the Grave, you can immediately deal your sneak attack damage to a creature on your turn, or you can target a second creature that you can see within 30 feet of the first creature. So a sneak attack damage to one creature, and then another one with spirit daggers or spiritual hurt or guilt damage to another creature within range. Scout Rogue. I think this one doesn't help you at all. Let's see. You can move up to half your speed as a reaction when an enemy ends its turn within 5 feet of you. So this one just helps you get away better. So you're more of a harasser type playstyle, but it doesn't help. But it doesn't give you an extra way to use your sneak attack. Soul Knife. This one gives you psi-powered attacks and gives you free daggers with finesse and thrown properties. Does psychic damage, yeah. So does not give you extra abilities with the sneak attack damage. Doesn't look like. Swashbuckler. Fancy footwork. This one right here. So you have an additional way to use your sneak attack. You don't need advantage on the attack roll to use your sneak attack against a creature if you're within 5 feet of it, and no other creatures are within 5 feet of you. Meaning as long as you're not flanked, you can deal a sneak attack, which I think arguably is probably the best sneak attack. I got a Swashbuckler Rogue in my party that I DM for, and you can't hit them. You can't. They deal sneak attack damage, and then with a panache, they run away because they can. Or fancy footwork, sorry, not panache. So they can come in, deal sneak attack, and then dip out without having attack of opportunities, which is crazy. Without even having to use their bonus action. So, anyways, there is an extra ability to do that. Thief. Fast hands, you can steal things easier or use things easier. And second story work, you can climb things easier. But no extra ability as far as sneak attack goes. Yeah. Christian Roberts says, Swashbuckler has one of the best alterations to sneak attack. I completely agree. Is there any other sneak attacks that come close? I think maybe the Inquisitive is no, Phantom, because that's kind of like you don't need a contested roll. It just kind of happens. It's half, but it always happens. But it is also limited. So maybe it goes between this one and the Inquisitive because you can do that as a bonus action. Basically giving yourself the help action almost, in a way. Although, can you use help action on yourself with the, was it the Scout Mastermind? Can you use the help action for yourself? No. I don't think so. If I'm wrong, let me know. But anyways, with the Rogue, there is not, however, much more than that as far as flavor goes. It does do incredibly well with the abilities that we've explored, the sneak attack and expertise, right? So we're talking about the Ludo-narrative now, kind of moving into that. The Ludo-narrative of the Rogue is a sneaky playstyle, kind of almost Robin Hood-esque character. Steal from the rich, give to the poor. Although there's probably a lot of people who don't kind of use that mentality when playing a rogue. But very much a fantasy that a lot of people have, and a lot of tropes in media that this also applies to. So the question is, when we think of these rogues outside of D&D and into media, does this class give us that feeling? Does it give us the emotions of being that sneaky rogue that we see on the big screen? So, Fizz Game Wiz, check out the ability. Oh, we missed Arcane Trickster. Thank you. It allows your mage hand to offer you advantage. That's the one that... Okay, so we got spellcasting abilities right here. Mage hand, Legerdemain. What's that word? When you cast Mage Hand, you can make an spectral hand invisible. You can perform the following additional tasks with it. You can stow one object the hand is holding in a container worn or carried by another creature. You can retrieve an object in a container worn or carried by another creature. These are huge, by the way. This is huge because spells don't usually affect other creatures, so any ability that affects what's on a person without them noticing is incredible. You can use Thieves' Tools to pick locks and disarm traps at range. You can perform one of these tasks without being noticed by a creature. If you succeed on a dexterity check, contested by a wisdom check. In addition, you can use a bonus action granted by your cunning action to control the hand. Does it say? Allows your mage hands to offer you advantage. I don't see it. Is it later on? You gain the ability... Oh, here we go. To distract the target with your mage hand. So not until level 13. As a bonus action on your turn, you can designate a creature within 5 feet of the spectral hand created by the spell. Doing so gives you advantage on the attack rolls against the creature until the end of the turn. I wonder why that's not earlier. Because I feel like that's not any more strong than some of the other subclass abilities that affect your sneak attack. But this time, it's like at level 13. That's like 3rd tier. I mean, it's great because it gives you advantage on the attack rolls by yourself, but so does Swashbuckler, right? And this time it uses your bonus action to do so. So I mean, it's great. It's awesome. I personally am a little disappointed, even though the Arcane Trickster is my favorite rogue subclass. I'm a little disappointed that's not a little bit sooner, but by all means, it's a great subclass anyways. Christian Roberts, Inquisitive gets a good one. Make an insight check against persuasion and deception of a target creature. If they fail, yep, then you have advantage. Yeah, nothing runs out with that. Quasums, I like that for Inquisitive because it leaves the chance up to the dice as it's only a bonus action. I have a player in one of my games who's in Inquisitive Rogue, successful about half the time so far. Yeah, the Inquisitive, Swashbuckler, and Phantom are top tier sneak attackers for sure, which is interesting that I don't list the ones class or subclass that's supposed to be the one sneak attacker, which is Assassin, because they get sneak attack, like a bonus sneak attack once and once only, and only if that creature is surprised or you go before them in initiative, which if you roll bad on your initiative, out of luck. You don't get your sneak attack or advantage on your roll. Sorry, you don't get to use your subclass if you roll low in initiative. So you kind of have to get abilities that improve your initiative to kind of make up for that. Going on this, though, there is a lot of flavor in the Arcane Trickster. I just want to show you this just to kind of show it off because I really like it. This is one character that we had. No one played it, but it was an NPC that we made, or that I made in my first campaign ever. My first campaign that I DM'd ever. And their names was Melpomene. Christian, you'll remember this one. They are the ultimate scapegoat, and I just think it's super cool, so I'm going to show you. With an Arcane Rogue, obviously an Arcane Trickster Rogue has spells, but you can flavor this to more of the stealing and the roguish archetype. Melpomene, and specifically, they are the escape artist, meaning they can do something. Doesn't matter if people see them. They are still going to get away with it. They have things like Disguise Self, Expeditious Retreat, Fog Cloud, Grease, Shield, Invisibility, Mirror Image, Misty Step, Fly, Haste, Slow, and Water Breathing. Like, there's no way that you're going to catch this person. None of these, like, help in sneaking, or sneak attacks. She doesn't need a sneak attack. She just needs to get in there, get the job done, get out. So anyways, this is kind of why the Arcane Trickster is like my favorite subclass, because you can do stuff like this, which is awesome. Which is also kind of my argument that spellcasters really do kind of have an upper hand on melee classes. But maybe I think that would just be an entirely different subject for another conversation, another live stream. So Melpomene was the, okay. So it's Melpomene in my mind. When I got the name from, it's an NPC that's related to a character that was playing name. Her name was Alex. And Alex gave this character to me, not saying the name, but just handing me a sheet of paper with the name on it. So I read him like, oh, Melpomene. No, it's Melpomene. Melpomene. You decide. You chat decide. Is it Melpomene or Melpomene? And I know that sounds like a pasta, but I think Melpomene is a better pronunciation. I could be completely wrong. And obviously, at her table, if she ever plays that character again and has Melpomene or Melpomene in the backstory, she can do whatever she wants with it. But this is one iteration, I would say, of this. Vince Gameways, gotta love an invisible rogue with 13 plus to stealth. Yeah, like, okay, sure, the ranger might be the best, the best as far as like the scores go. Like if they're going to roll a stealth check, they're the ones that's going to have the highest outcome. But the arcane trickster rogue will have a multiple, or have multiple resources to add on to that sneak. So I would say that if you are going to be a sneaky rogue, then the arcane trickster would probably be the best one, probably. So we go on to, there's one, okay, so with that detour, we're going to go back to the Ludo-narrative. We'll look at, this is something that I've wanted to do that we haven't done yet. We're gonna kind of go feature by feature with the rogue, and basically ask our question, or ask the question, does this feature fit the Ludo-narrative? If I'm playing, and sure, as like a whole class, we can say like, yeah, rogues totally feel like the Ludo-narrative, but we'll just dive in deep because hey, we have the time, and go chapter by chapter or feature by feature and say like, okay, does this one feel like a rogue? And if not, could it be switched out with something else? So we're talking about expertise and how it's great that we get super skilled in the things that we want to be skilled in, which again is an argument why this would improve the Ludo-narrative in other classes, but I digress. Sneak attack, absolutely. You're getting in there, you're assassinating, you're getting the job done, you're doing it quick and efficient, and you're out. Thieves can't. This one's kind of a ribbon feature, doesn't have a really lot to do with your class unless your DM really makes it so. And so this says, during your rogue training, you learned basically a language, a dialect, a jargon, or a code that allows you to hide messages in seemingly normal conversation. Dale Kingsmill over in her channel, Monarch's Factory, actually did a great video about that. How she kind of explained like what that would really look like and the dynamics of that. It was really good. Only another creature that knows Thieves Can't can understand your messages. So I still think that this, even though it's a ribbon feature, it's still really cool. It kind of alludes to how you're going to play the character, meaning that you have a thieves guild, you have people nearby, you're very sneaky, not only in your body, but also in your conversation, in your words, in your interactions with other people, right? You have the ability to send secret messages. So, cunning action going on. Your quick thinking and agility allows you to move and act quickly. You can take a bonus action on each of your turns in combat. This action can be used only to take the dash, disengage, or hide action. Also very Ludo-narrative. This Monk also has a version of this, but they have to spend key points. I also don't think that they should have to spend key points, especially if Rogue gets it by themselves. You can just do a 2-level dip into Rogue for your Monk and get it. Just give the Monk the ability to do that without it. Your quick thinking and agility allows you to move and act quickly. I think that in and of itself, because when you picture Rogue, you picture Sly, you picture jumping from rooftops, you picture sneaking through windows, a lot of like parkour kind of stuff. Now, get in a tussle in a room with something really, really big, you obviously don't want to tussle with that creature, so you either want to get him and go or just leave altogether. Roguish archetype, you get to choose another roguish archetype, obviously. Ability score improvement, you either get a bonus to your scores or a feat. Uncanny dodge at 5th level. When an attacker that you can see hits you with an attack, you can use your reaction to halve the attack's damage to you. I really like this feature because I can flavor it a lot. Right? It doesn't say that you move out of the way. It doesn't say that like they're nicking you at all or just hitting you less. It says that when they hit you with an attack, it just does half excuse me, it just does half the attack's damage. So, like, you can be an Earth Ganassi that it just hits your rock skin and you can harden it. That's the kind of flavor that I'm talking about. But either way, Uncanny Dodge is just kind of an improvement to the Cunning Action or an addition to. So those two fit basically hand in hand, and there's actually a third one that kind of expands on this ability. So there's a lot of continuity in this. Because skipping Expertise, where, again, as we mentioned before, you get another 2 bonus to your skills, you have Evasion, where you can nimbly dodge out of the way of certain area effects, such as an Ancient Red Dragon's Fiery Breath or an Ice Storm spell. Made specifically for things that you have to make a dexterity saving throw, however, so not something else. Although it would be kind of interesting to see if you wanted, if like making a character to switch that into like something else, maybe like a Constitution saving throw. If you're going the Earth Ganassi route where you're just strong enough to not like be affected by things, I think that'd be interesting. To take only half damage, and you take no damage if you succeed on the saving throw, only half if you fail. So if you're getting blasted by a fireball or a cloud kill or something like that, you can use. Would a cloud kill work? I don't think that one's a dexterity saving throw, so never mind. But something like that you can jump out of the way, you have that. Reliable talent. Now here's where it gets good. You have refined your chosen skills until they approach perfection. Whenever you make an ability check that lets you add your proficiency bonus, you can treat a d20 of a 9 or lower as a 10. Now, this gets it up basically, I would say, on par with the Ranger. Although still, with the flat plus 10 the Ranger gets with their spell, they still have this like an edge on that, or at least it could get the highest amount of scores. Although a Rogue Ranger multi-class with this feature would be insane. So this would get it close, as you don't have a flat 10, but at least all of your rolls are a 10. So at least you don't roll as the least amount as often, right? So there's a very possibility that you can get higher than a Ranger with the Pass Without a Trace spell. However, it's just a little less often that you do that. So, going on. Blind Sense. If you are able to hear, you are aware of the location of any hidden or invisible creature within 10 feet of you. So, this one kind of, to me, leaves the Ludo-narrative a little bit. It kind of leaves, because in the sense that the rogue is the one that's sneaking and not trying to be seen, and now all of a sudden you are the rogue hunter, where you can now be aware of the location of rogues, of other rogues. So maybe if you're like so sneaky that you know how other people sneak, like I can see that. But to me, it's just like a little. What am I trying to say? A little curve off the road of what we're trying to do. But that's just my opinion. Slippery Mind. You have an acquired greater mental strength. You gain proficiency in wisdom saving throws. No clue where this came from. No clue. This would make sense as a monk. But what if I'm not being a very wise rogue? I mean, sneaking into like heavily guarded palaces of the king to steal their crown may not be the wisest decision. So Slippery Mind, I think, is the first one that I think is the farthest from the Ludo narrative. I look at that and I'm like, why the heck am I getting wisdom saving throws just because I have mental strength? Like, I'm not an aberrant mind. I'm not something that is focused on wisdom. I'm focused on dex and dex only. Why am I getting proficiency in wisdom saving throws? You tell me. You let me know. Devil Ham. Here we go. Sorry if this was asked a Cleric Corner. What class do you think makes a better single class mage killer build, rogue or monk? Both are great. However, I'll actually, that's a great question. I'll actually show you this other character that I made in a second. Magnus Pendragon, did I lose much? Did you lose much? Are you talking, did you miss much? Did you miss like much of the stream? I mean, we're like 40 minutes in. So, but we haven't decided whether like what tier this thing is yet. I'll show you this character. You guys, while I'm just in case the while I'm exploring my my characters, just in case my players are seeing this later on, I don't want to share all of the other NPCs that I've got going on. So let me find this one real quick, because I did make a rogue hunter or a rogue slayer in a chance, or because I as a DM, as you kind of know, it becomes incredibly hard, or increasingly hard as your rogue levels up, to do anything about it. So I created this one, and I think I sent this. I think I was actually planning on playing this for a little bit, but here we go. It's Mercer the Rogue Hunter, and he's a rogue. He is a rogue, but also a cleric level 6. He has a 38 passive perception. A 38. Meaning, let's say they get a natural 20, and they have expertise, which is double their proficiency bonus, so +6, +6, so 12, 32, plus their charisma mod. If it's a 5, that would be a 37. So a natural 20 plus their plus expertise plus their dexterity, because dexterity is a stealth. They'll see it. They will see it. And this was a while ago, so I can't quite remember exactly everything that I did for this one. I know that they used some features. So they have alert, which gives them advantage, and observant. So alert and observant worked out great. I put expertise in insight, investigation, and perception. So they have a +18 in perception. Not only will they be able to perceive this creature, but they'll also be able to, basically the insight rogue. Which one was that one? The inquisitive rogue. The inquisitive rogue will never get a sneak attack on this creature, with the +18 insight and investigation. We'll check out we'll find anything. So, anyways, to me, this is kind of my go-to if I needed to go and take a creature and I need a rogue hunter for a character because of this rogue, or just you have a government in your area that is trying to get rid of the Thieves Guild, give them this one. Or you have neighboring Thieves Guild that you are trying to pit against, and this creature is on the side of one of these rogue guilds, and they send to them kind of as a double agent, maybe. It'd be pretty interesting. So, Vidge Game Wiz, I feel like intelligence saves fits better for a rogue since they're pretty crafty. I would actually agree with that. I agree with that. I feel like that would be better for a rogue, definitely. Maybe even charisma, because you kind of have to lie your way out of things. Vidge Game Wiz, wouldn't be as strong, but it feels more roguish to succeed at things like Feeble Mind. Sure, yeah. I think either of those would work better than what it has. Christian Roberts, I would love to hear what you're thinking for those two builds. First thought I had was fighter or paladin. The paladin gets to hit hard and aura devotion. The fighter can attack a lot per round. Oh, yeah. If you're talking about actually damaging, so yeah. Merchant the Rogue Hunter, he doesn't really fight well, although he does still have sneak attack. He does have things like Guiding Bolt, which gives him advantage on them. And I think he actually does he have spells that cause disadvantage? I'd have to double check. There's a couple of them here. But anyways. Oh, they do start with intelligence saving throws. Okay, so if they already are starting with intelligence saving throws, then obviously it wouldn't make sense to get another proficiency with that, right? So that's kind of maybe what they're doing with the wisdom. So then I would then kind of stick with the charisma. Or if you're having a rogue and he's getting up to those levels and you're like, dude, you just have an extra saving throw. Which one do you want? and he'd be like, I want to be like kind of in between both my strength and my dex because I'm that kind of rogue. Awesome, you get a strength saving throw. I don't know, because wisdom saving throws are pretty powerful. I mean, I would feel totally comfortable in letting him choose, or letting her choose, either one. Rogues get proficiency in almost every save that really matters. That is painful. Yeah. Even though rogues, from kind of what we've been looking at, does not include a lot of customizability as far as flavor goes, it is an incredible subclass that fits the Ludo-narrative on the head that it's never going to be replaced. It's never going to get looked over, and people are always going to be excited to play one. So yeah, so it has like things like find traps, locate object, dispel magic. Anyways, it's very much an investigator type of thing, and that's why I kind of chose a cleric, because all of these spells really aid them in either finding or defeating this rogue, or maybe even allow this, coupled with maybe like a paladin or a fighter, like what you're talking about, Christian, would be an insane duo, because the rogue hunter can point them out and the other one can smite. So I would really be interested in actually having kind of that duo. Oh, I just had a picture of my mind. I've been watching some like Elden Ring playthroughs of other people, and there's this duo that gets really fat. I think it's called like Godskins. I think that's what they're called. If anyone knows who they are, like the Godskin people. There's one kind of skinny one. There's one super fat one, and they're just synergy with each other, like makes it impossible. I watched someone like try to go at it for like 2 hours. It was great. Going on, elusive, I think, is the next one. You are so evasive, your attackers rarely gain the upper hand against you. No attack roll has advantage against you while you aren't incapacitated. Woo! So that one's kind of like the capstone to like the evasion, uncanny dodge, cunning action, that kind of stuff. This, again, super linear, where this gives you a lot of different things. A lot of and it's not only like an expansion of one thing, it's like taking a lot of like different facets from another thing. So all in all, very impressed with the rogue. Just need to change the slippery mind feature. Stroke of luck. This one Ludo-narrative. Let's see if we can end on a strong note. You have an uncanny knack for succeeding when you need to. If your attack misses a target within range, you can turn the miss into a hit. Alternatively, if you fail an ability check, you can treat the d20 roll as a 20. You can use it once you use this feature. You can't use it again until you finish a long or a short rest. So, with this, there's almost two lines. The rogue almost has 2 lines of Ludo-narrative. One, I hit everything hard and one time, and then I dodge everything that's thrown at me. Those 2 lines. And through the expertise line, or expertise, sorry, yeah, the sneak attack line and the evasion line, it's kind of like the start of those 2 lines. It's completely good throughout all of it. It's very linear. It's very structured, and I think it does end on a good note. So, as far as Ludo-narrative, rogue is top tier, which is awesome. Yeah. Let's see. We're talking in the chat. Yeah, it's definitely a rite of passage for every DM to have a rogue in the party. Yeah, absolutely. I have a swashbuckler rogue in my party right now, and I do something called bonus level up perks, which was made famous by the Dungeon Coach over on his channel, and he is incredible. He's very much wants to lead into the fancy footwork on the battlefield kind of thing. So I gave him an ability kind of at level 5. That allows him to kind of get out of the way for extra attacks. Meaning that if he is attacked, then he can use his half of his movement to get away. Meaning that if he is attacked and gets his movement out of the way, then the creature either has to move up his speed to attack him again, or they've already used up their movement and can't get to them. So even though I think that's super nice and awesome, I've already still tried. I've still almost killed him twice. So there are ways around it. Magnus Pendragon. I usually play rogues and monks as mobility supports, since both classes have too much movement. I like to use that to increase the movement of others with grapples and stuff. Yeah, both of those are super great mobility supports. Both are super good harassers. Indestructible Boy, since I'm calling out every channel on this live stream, Indestructible Boy has an amazing, it's actually, I think, in a short that he put out on why the monk is great and everyone's just playing them wrong. And I'm like, wow, that's all right. Makes sense, because monks are supposed to be in and out just like the rogue. They go in, they attack, and they get out. They dip out. And then possibly sometimes... Here's how you play the monk optimally. Let's say that, optimally. You go in, you strike twice with your first attack, and try to stun. If you stun, you use your bonus action to do extra attacks, or your rapid, whatever that ability is called, shoot. Your extra 2 attacks with your punches. You do that. If you don't stun them, you use your bonus action to get out of the way. You dash, you disengage, you get out, and you go to like 30 feet away or however far out you can get to. Then the creature cannot ever get to you and has their attention wrapped up with the attackers or the frontliners. Next turn, you do the same thing. You go in, pop, pop. You try to stun them. If you don't, you get out. If you do, pop, pop some more. Basically, it's kind of that's in short kind of what he said, and he said it very much more elegantly. But both of them are so good at what they do. Bitch Game Wiz, I will say I've seen a lot of different rogue characters, including gangsters, nobles, politicians, street thieves. Yep. So there must be some level of reflavor ability. Every class does. It just takes a good mind to do it, right? I think we all kind of do just kind of sometimes get wrapped up in what's kind of set there before, like in front of us, because it's easy, right? It's easy to just be a thief that is a thief, right? And there's a ton of fun doing that. However, there is a lot of things that you can kind of, get outside the box with and do different things with and reflavor things. And it's just seeing the mechanics as they are. And that's just it. Just mechanics that you can paint on whatever you got. So, yeah. Magnus makes make a good point. A harasser just gets worse with the mobile feat. It just gets worse. So anyways... with the rogue, let's go back to our tier list. Let me know in the chat where you feel like the rogue lies as far as flavor. Now, we've kind of looked at, there's not a lot of customizability. There is some flavor, as we've kind of proven. However, not a lot of customizability or other options that gives you... Oh my goodness, excuse me. So it's the waffles. There's not a lot of different things that you can do as far as mechanics go with the rogue. So it's just reflavoring the mechanics that are already given to you. But as far as Ludo-narrative goes, it's pretty great. So put in the chat, what do you think it is? Looking at the tier list again, features are in complete synergy with the class narrative, a key class for reflavoring, including multiple avenues for customization. Again, we've kind of looked at, there's not a lot of multiple avenues for customization, so I wouldn't say S, probably. Strong features that promote creativity with the right brainstorming a lot as possible. Offers decent reflavoring options and provides good narrative, although only for specific instances. Some Ludo-narrative is present, reflavoring is possible, but specific features make it very difficult. Features seldom work with the narrative of the class. They are limiting and leaves little room for reflavoring. So, answering the question too, while you guys are kind of putting that your answers in the chat, how different would 2 characters of the same subclass be? Let's explore that for a second. With the same subclass, let's take... I mean, it would be unfair with Arcane Trickster, because 2 of the Arcane Trickster, one could be more of like illusionist, right? To aid them in the actual going in and sneaking, while the character that I showed you, Melpomene or Melpomene, see now I'm getting mixed up, there are the escape artists, so they're the ones that get away. So there is some dissonance there, or some differences. But let's take like the assassin rogue. Unfortunately, I do think that 2 assassin rogues would be doing basically the exact same thing there wouldn't be a lot of differences between the two of them, and both of them would be leaning towards just being good at the one-hit wonders at the beginning of turn, right? They're going to want to get better at their initiative. They're going to want to attack first. They're the ones that you kind of send in and surprise features, so they're playing very similarly. But you could be like one from the forest and one from the city, so there's still that. But all in all, I think if you get two assassins, they're closer together than some other classes would be, or subclasses would be, in that sense. So, and again, like all of these in any class depends on the subclass, obviously. But, I mean, because again, Arcane Trickster compared to the Assassin is a little bit different, a little bit further apart. But that's kind of how I see it. So, and I just realized that you were looking at my face while I was looking at the computer that whole time. That's okay. Vince Gameways, this feels very similar to the Bard in that the class has strong, singular, in this case, duo purpose. Yep. And the flexibility comes from what skills, expertise you choose, plus spells as a trickster. Christian Roberts, I think high B, low A. I think that's what I'm going for. Looking at the tier list, I think B, solely because, again, it offers decent reflavoring options because all of your reflavoring is on the is basically on what's given you, right? So you're reflavoring the reflavoring option. There really is no options. It's just reflavoring the one option that's given to you, and provides good narrative. It provides great narrative, though only for specific instances, meaning that you're really only being in with or within those two linear lines that we've talked about, and they are the strongest in those two lines. If you are a rogue, you're a really freaking good rogue, right? You do this one linear thing very, very good. So you're going to want to play in a campaign that includes this, or that you are doing these things a lot, because if you're not, then you don't get to, and you can't really reflavor out of that. Meaning you can't really change or manipulate the mechanics to be something else because they're so tied in together, right? We talked about, can you separate the mechanics from the narrative? If you change one of these abilities to something else, because this ability is kind of tacked on or built upon in later levels, you can't really do a lot with that unless you're changing the later levels too. In that sense, you'd probably just create an entirely new subclass or use a different class. So I would say B. I would say B for sure. But again, Rogue is never going to go anywhere. Rogue is never going to leave. And I don't think it really needs to be reflavored because there are other reflavoring options in the other classes. If you don't want to be a rogue flavor, you're going to use another class, right? And you can even still be a rogue-ish character in another class, right? Like we talked about the rogue or the bard or other creatures taking the skill feat. You can still get elements of being sneaky and be really good at it without being the rogue. This just does basically tax everything on top of those things that we expect, right? So that's what I think about the rogue. If you guys have other comments below on if you think that it should be less, if you think that it should be more, please prove me wrong. That's what these videos are for. It's deciding what the rogue is and what its capabilities are in a flavor narrative. So not an optimization narrative, because rogues are very much a class that a lot of people use for optimization, mainly because of their sneak attack. But an incredible class altogether and very well written. So, be with Ludo-narrative and flavor though. So that's all I got for you guys. Thank you guys so much for coming to this stream. I was a little nervous going into a melee class a little bit, because again, just some things that we haven't explored yet, but which also makes it fun. So. If you guys get a chance, tomorrow I will be putting out a Netherdeep. I think it's actually on Premiere right now. A Netherdeep video. So we got the Netherdeep Critical Role Campaign Adventure, first one, coming out on Tuesday. So I kind of put this video out. If you're thinking about creating characters for the adventure, I'm going to kind of explain different features and different facets you can use to flavor your character and fit the adventure, so your DM can more easily fit you into that story. So, anyways, until then, go out there and spread the good word of D&D and make the world a better place, both on and off your tables. See you in the next one, guys.